comedian. He's become a rave in Britain. And recently he made his acting debut starring as Ian, who moves with his wife from city to country life in the BBC sitcom How Do You Want Me, written by the same fellow who wrote Men Behaving Badly. Would you welcome, it's an extraordinary thing, but he's yet another fella. You know Tommy Tiernan, you've already met Tommy Tiernan on The Late Late Show. Will we ever forget Tommy Tiernan on The Late Late Show? They're from Navan, County Meath. So is this fellow. Would you welcome, please, Dylan Moran. Dylan Moran, there he is. How are you? Good to see you. Sit down. You're welcome. So what is it about Navan, then, that keeps on producing you fellas?
I don't know. Navan is a very odd kind of place. It's Navan is the kind of place where your imagination is a fairly crucial tool to get through the day. So, because you know, if you let reality invade too much, you might just expire there on the spot.
Really?
So I don't know. I suppose that's what it is. I mean, I know what Tommy had on the show and what happened. I heard about it afterwards. I think he's a fine comedian.
Terrific comedian.
I'm sure some people do and some people don't. But, you know, religion is always fairly reliable as well for upsetting people, isn't it? You know.
Yes. Do you upset people with religion?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. But I think religion it's like your family. You know, you don't talk to them much. But if anybody else insults them, you go kind of crazy.
Yes.
So I don't know. I don't know. I think in several years' time, or maybe, you know, a few thousand years' time, it could be something else that upsets people.
Hmm. But that's all you have to say about Navan.
Well, Navan is well. I don't know. Navan is so devoid of culture that if you don't make your own, you'll just die. So you really have to do it, you know, in your own head on the spot.
But it's only an hour up the road.
I know it's only an hour up the road, but a lot can happen in an hour.
That's true.
You know,
that's true. Yes.
I mean, there's Dunchalkton as well, and that's the grey area.
This BBC Two series, you're getting rave reviews, as you know, especially in the British papers, and it's your first venture into acting. Do you enjoy doing the acting bit and working with pro actors and all of that?
Well, I was very intimidated because I was surrounded by lots of proper actors, and they were people who would come in and say, "Good morning."
Yes.
How are you? And they'd speak like that for the whole day. I'm not very awake in the morning. I would come in and, you know, you try to be polite because everybody else is being, and you can do that for a couple of days, and then you revert to your usual kind of grunting. But I felt very, very odd about it in the beginning, but they were all very nice. They're very strange people, though, actors.
Are they?
Yeah, they are, because you're babied quite a lot as an actor. There's always somebody running around to say, "Would you like me to do anything? Anything at all? Perhaps an apple? I don't know. A holiday? What do you want?" And they, "Will I play with your hair?" Something. And they, so you begin to feel like a child. And what happens is, because you're there for so long, you know, 6 weeks, and you're there most of the day, you turn into a child. So if you don't get your apple, you go, "No, apple," and you become quite pathetic.
But you're enjoying it now.
I did enjoy it. I had a great time, yeah.
Yeah. Well, now you've lived in the country and you've lived in the city and so on, and the series is about
that. The series is about a couple who moved to the country, and he's from the city, and he's rather taken aback by how people find him when he gets there. And the
nasty father-in-law.
And there's a pretty heavy father-in-law thing, Mr. Frank Finlay, who's very much an actor. But the country is, I think that's true about the country. You know, I think if you're from the city, you can find the country very strange. I grew up in the countryside, but I've lived in cities for most of my working life. And when you go back to the country, you become sort of startled by how much unsupervised dirt there is. And in
the country?
Yes, you know, I mean, things growing in things, and other things eating things, and
they're cattle and sheep, Dylan.
Yes, I believe that's what they're called. And they, but then, of course, there's huge advantages to living in the country. You know, I mean, people are they're very friendly. You know, people know who you are. Sometimes too much. You know, I remember if I go back to where I'm from and talk to relatives and so on, they'll say, "Do you know Mrs. Finnerty up the road?" And I go, "No." And they say, "You know Mrs. Finnerty, beige trousers, red hair. You know, she always looks that way for no reason at all. And, you know, and I go, no. And so she's got a new cat. Oh, really? And they, I don't know, that's what people thrive on when they're in the country. Where in the city, you know, you could be walking around with a cat hanging out of your lip and nobody really noticed, you know.
You've suffered the anonymity of London, have you?
Yeah, you do get that.
Yes,
very alienated.
Yes. Now, you're in Dublin. Are you looking for a house, did Bridget say to you?
Yeah, I am. I'm looking for a house.
Yes. Why?
Well, I moved back to Dublin from London because I got tired of London, because as you said, it's very anonymous, you know, it's very big.
But the man who is tired of London is tired of life.
As Samuel Johnson said, yes.
Indeed.
But he was a Londoner, and he probably...
never was in Navan.
Probably never went to Navan and realised what a mecca he was missing. But Irish people, when they go to London, are quite odd, you know, because they do tend to stick together.
Yes.
They do hang around together. And you'll see them. You can, you know, if you walk into a bar or something, because you sort of, you know the signs of your own kind when you go away. You know, like you can spot English people on holiday because they're looking for chips in the soup that they're given, and they, and you can see. I would see Irish people if you walked into a bar or something. There'd be about 50 guys just sitting around the bar, and there's a thing called Irish hair. Yeah, I've noticed it over the last couple of years. I never realised it before, but there is a thing called Irish hair, where you walk in and you see 50 fellas, and they're all sitting around there talking just to each other and nobody else, and they all look like this. You know. How's it going? I'll have a pint of muck, please. Thanks very much. None of your foreign rubbish. And that. But so anyway, we got away from that. I wanted to leave London, and but it's very difficult, you know, to get a
house.
House. It is very difficult.
All the price.
I don't know how I went away, and suddenly everybody went, Ireland's fantastic. It's much more expensive than we thought it was before. Sorry, it was undervalued, and now everything. It was terrible, you know. And you have to deal with the people who sell you the houses.
Yes.
And I don't trust them.
Auctioneers.
No, well, it's all auctioneers now, isn't it? Because everything is incredibly valuable, and you can't even just walk in and buy it because there's going to be somebody else behind you who'll say, "Oh no, that's here. Have my whole family. I'll give you that for that." And I'm really surprised. You can't buy anything. We found a deep fat fryer in a skip in Clondalkin. We're going to move in there. And, you know, maybe get planning permission for a flat for the kids. And it's awful. And the people lie to you as well. You know, the estate agents, they do lie. They come up to you and they go, and they try and talk everything up as well. Yeah. They say, you've got the floor here. Floor? That's a good thing. And the roof. Oh, you're laughing. And then they tell you about the kind of houses you can get. You know, you can get like a mews, which is a really small space in which you sit and muse as to why you gave £150,000 to some idiot you're never going to see again. And then they say things like, this is a lower ground floor flat, and you know it's not. You know, you've been around. You know it's a basement. and if it actually says basement, it means you live in a well. So,